Hello, 8th grade. Today we are talking about section 3.2, and we're starting to talk about a triangle. So we've talked a little bit about angles, and now we're really going to get into a triangle and dissect the triangle and figure out what it's all about. So if we're talking about the interior of a triangle, I'm talking about these angles right in here. The interior is the degree measures inside the triangle angles. And we know that all of those angles you can actually measure with the protractor. But if you add them up, so if we add up this angle plus this angle plus this angle, we always get a total of 180 degrees. And then the same goes for if we're talking about the exterior. Now when we talk about the exterior of a triangle, we're talking about if this line continues, I'm actually talking about this angle. And then I would go this way and talk about that angle, and I would go this way and talk about that angle. So it's kind of like a windmill. If you look at all of the angles on the outside, they always have to be the same way. So if we're talking about the measures on the outside of the triangles, those always add up to be 360 degrees. And if I take my little angles here, you'll be able to see, if I can put them all together, you'll be able to see that it indeed does. If I move it around a little bit, let's see how straight my lines are. Oops. That it does equal 360 degrees, which is a full circle, which is kind of a cool thing that there's a circle that fills around the outside of your triangle. So if we are working with the outside of my triangle, here's what I want to do. I want to add up to be 180 degrees. So I'm going to take 70 plus x equals 180 degrees. Well, that's easy because I can combine my like terms. So that's 140 plus x equals 180. I subtract my 140 over and I get x equals 40. Okay, so then the second one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do 90 plus 45 plus x equals 180. And I know that 90 plus 45 is 135 plus x equals 180. And then x, I have to subtract 135 over, so x is going to go ahead and equal 45. All right. Next one over here, I'm going to do 35 plus 104 plus x equals 180. So I'm going to add together my 104 plus 35, and I'm going to get 139 plus x equals 180. And I'm going to subtract my 139 over, and I'm going to get x equals 41. And last one, same method, I'm going to do 108 plus 36 plus x equals 180. So I'm going to add together 108 plus 36, and in that case I get 144 plus x equals 180. Then I subtract my 144 over, and I get x equals 36. Now one thing I do want to point out to you is these lines on these triangles tell me that these are triangles that something is congruent. And so you'll notice that the opposite angles are the same. So this is 45, guess what? That one was 45 too. This one is 36, that one was also 36 that I got there. So just a little fun fact for you to start looking for. The last two, I do x plus 27, and I could do plus 90, but I already know that 180 minus 90 equals 90, so that's a step that I don't have to do. So then I just have to do 90 minus 27, which I get x equals 63. Ooh, in this case I've got 3 of these little lines. Well, if 2 of them meant that the opposite sides were equal, what do you think that third one means? Yep, you are right. That opposite side is equal. What is 60 plus x equals 180? I add these two together. I get 120 plus x equals 180. Subtract my 120 over, and I do get that x equals 60, which is what I presumed at the very beginning. Okay, Then we have got these exterior angles. So you see how the line is drawn here for me. It goes ahead and it gives me this extra line, okay? What I want to do with that extra line is I want to make sure that I'm looking at what I have. So let's use my vocabulary that I already know, and that would be supplementary. If these two angles, well, I know this one's 90 because of the right angle, but if these two angles are 180 degrees together and I subtract 115, 180 minus 115, that gives me 65 for that angle right there. Okay, so since I know that that angle is 65, what I can do is I can subtract these two, or add these two to x to get 180. So I can do 90 plus 65 plus x equals 180. So I add 90 and 65 together, that's 155 plus x equals 180. And then I would subtract my 155 from my 180, and I get x equals 25. Now, there's another trick that we can do with this, and it works every time for triangles. Since these two angles make up 2/3 of the triangle, right, and I've got my x over here, I don't know what that is. What I can actually do, since these are supplementary, I could add those together, subtract from 180, find what x is, and move it over and find my question mark. Or I can actually add these together, and it's going to equal my exterior angle. So if I do 80 plus 25, it's going to equal whatever my question mark is on the board. So 80 plus 25 is 105. Equals my question mark. Okay? So if 105 is my answer up there, that would mean that my other angle, my x right here, would actually have to be 75. Well, 75 plus 80 plus 25 does equal 180 for my triangle. Well, if that works on this side, would it work on the last triangle I just did? If I add these two together, what is 90 plus, I got my x was 25, plus 25 is going to give me 115. Oops. That actually is the same answer as there. So we'll talk a little bit more about that right here. Actually, I'll talk about a little bit more about that in class, but I want you to find that missing angle. So let's talk about what we do know. We know that these are vertical angles, so this angle is also 103. Can you tell that that's a 3? Ugh. So now I have a triangle. So I know that 103 plus 23 plus my question mark, we're going to make that an x, equals 180. Well, let's add 103 plus 23. That's going to be 126 plus x equals 180. Subtract my 126 over 180 minus 126 equals 54. Okay, and the last one here, I can find that this is 101 because they're vertical angles and they're congruent. 144, these are supplementary here. So I have to take 180 minus 144, and in that case I'm going to get a 36. And so I just need to find this angle here. Well, I know that's not my question mark, but what I do know is my question mark is vertical, so those are the same. So I'm going to take 101 plus 36 plus x equals 180. I'm going to change colors here so we don't get confused. 137 plus x equals 180, and subtract 180 minus 137, and I get x equals 43. And I can look at that and say, yep, that looks like a 43-degree angle. Very good right there. Okay, that's all we have for today. Have a great day.